I'll admit to not being a huge fan of this mission, but we can do it pretty easily. It just requires mines and C4. I wouldn't even require that if we could Fulton. In fact, you can get no traces on this one within like the first minute or two doing what I'm about to do. However, I can't do that without Fultoning, so I'm not worried about that. I don't particularly like this mission, not because I think it's badly designed. It's pretty well designed for what it is. I just don't think it really fits that well with what Metal Gear is, especially with the fact that you're spending a lot of time kind of out in the open and not really interacting with anybody. Like this part right here at the beginning, the vehicle that's in the supply outpost, this is pretty cool because you have to move quickly, you have to sneak past guys, but for most of the rest of the mission, you probably won't even interact with any guards or be anywhere near any outposts because you don't really need to be. Which means the only things that can really catch you are the vehicles themselves, and since you can set up easy traps for them, it's pretty much trivial to avoid them. Vehicles have very bad eyesight unless you're right in front of them, so it's just kind of pointless. Anyway, playing with fire there, I got half spotted a couple of times, but as soon as I can get out of here, it doesn't matter what they inspect because they're not going to find anything interesting. Now I will start speeding things up from here. We're going to detonate the first vehicle as soon as we're kind of safely away, because it will trigger a caution over the supply outpost, and we don't want to be near there while we're doing other work. But we want to destroy vehicles in this mission as quickly as possible, because more vehicles only start appearing. Miller will only call them in once you've actually destroyed one or two of the existing vehicles. So what I'm doing right now is setting up tank mines in a variety of spots that I know that these vehicles are going to cross. And you would think I could just drop these and leave and just go about my business and so forth, but unfortunately, due to the way the game is coded, or I don't know, something, explosives have a detonation radius, basically, and if you're not within range, they will be ignored. So if I were not sitting close enough here to this APC, when it drives over the mines that are on the road ahead, it would just ignore them and keep going. I would have to actually physically be near them. You would notice that that's not how mines work at all. That's kind of exactly the opposite point of what a landmine is, but that's how it works in game, so we'll just have to deal with it. Good news is, we're only a couple of minutes in, and we've already destroyed 3 out of 4, and we're close to destroying 4 out of 4. However, there are a couple of complications that happen midway through the mission, where there's a prisoner in a jeep, and there's also a supply truck that gets spawned. Neither of these are objectives, and both of these can lead to kills if you just were to allow those areas to be destroyed. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to actually let them pass and basically get off the map before certain things will be allowed to spawn, which will slow this down a bit. But there's not really anything I can do about it. I could stop the vehicle, but I don't have a way to Fulton or remove the prisoner from the map quickly, and I'm pretty sure unless you get rid of the prisoner quickly, it won't necessarily spawn anything new. Could be wrong about that, though. Anyway, once again, just wait for it to get close, blow it up. And it's about this time that I realized that the prisoner's jeep is going to get to this part of the road before the next vehicle gets there, so I need to make sure that I pick up these mines so that the jeep doesn't drive over them, and then just hide until the jeep passes. So that adds a little bit of a fun complication to this, in the sense that I have to be careful not to just leave the mines lying around on the road. But as soon as these guys have passed, it should be relatively easy to just go ahead and keep putting them down. I have just enough mines where I can use 2 per vehicle, which you don't need to do. I'm pretty sure just 1 would destroy any of these armored APCs. They're not reinforced APCs, the black or red ones, so they should be fine. I only put the 2 mines there as road coverage to make sure that the APCs don't somehow drive around them. But I have 12 of them, and then I have a bunch of C4. I already used 2 C4 on the vehicle that's just sitting there in the supply outpost, so if I were to use 2 mines on the other 6 APCs, then I would be perfectly fine. Like more than enough, and I won't actually be using mines on every single one for a particular reason. So at this point, the truck spawns and the last 2 armored vehicles have not spawned, and I'm going to have to wait until Miller actually mentions it, which I think won't happen until the Jeep carrying the prisoner leaves the map, which will result in the prisoner getting executed. If you don't rescue him, you will lose some heroism from the prisoner being executed after they leave the map boundaries. The good news is that prisoner deaths don't count against your score. They don't stop you from getting an S rank. It just knocks your heroism, and you get so much heroism in this game that I have like 10 times more than would be needed to be considered a hero in the FOV mode. So it really doesn't matter if one prisoner dies, which is unfortunate. But hey, sorry, buddy, I got a budget. Anyway, at this point I'm just waiting on the truck until a new vehicle actually spawns. I'm just going to have to wait, let the truck pass, and then just see where the last vehicles are, because I don't quite remember. I haven't played the game in a while. And they will, it turns out, be spawning in the south, so messing around in this area is really not important. I could have just left and moved towards the last location, but as it turns out, it's really not going to matter.
Boss, we have new targets. Check your iDroid for the details.
Yeah, there they are. They spawn from the palace area and come north. Now this is interesting in that there are 2 of them, and they're very close together, which is somewhat of a problem, because if I were to drop a mine and blow the first one up, the second one would pause and panic for a little bit before it finally drives on. However, there is a way we can deal with this, which is I'm going to head down to the bridge that they're approaching here. Put 2 mines down for the first one, and then, just because I don't know exactly how much distance they'll be trailing apart and where the other one will stop, I'm going to plant a line of C4 here in kind of a snaking pattern, so that I can manually detonate the C4 to kill the following vehicle once the leading vehicle explodes. So I'm just going to use all the rest of my C4 because these are the last 2 vehicles, and I'm just going for broke on this. But it should work fine, because I've got enough coverage, and it doesn't take very much C4 to kill a vehicle at all. 1 or 2 explosions should take it out, so it doesn't need to be in range of all 6 or however many I put down. We're also very good for time. We should be out of here with minutes to spare. I wasn't sure here if I got it, but I see that it's on fire, and when a vehicle is on fire, it is going to explode. It may not do so immediately, but it will explode within a couple of seconds. So it can take a little while depending on how much damage you've done, somewhere in the neighborhood of like 20 seconds if you've done absolute minimum damage to a vehicle, but it will work eventually. I think that's because when it's on fire, it's actually like taking additional damage, and once it takes a certain amount of damage, it explodes, so at some point it's a death wish. Now I'm going to ignore the tanks and gunship. I don't really have any good means to take down helicopters unless I just randomly scavenge a rocket launcher off a guard, so it's not really worth it. Plus the time it would take me to do it, it's not as easy as if you can just fold those tanks.
That right there is why you're the best, boss. The one and only.